As I mentioned this morning, I am speaking on the Great Mother this morning, the Great Goddess. The Great Mother and her embodiment in the great goddesses throughout history. One of you requested a talk about the unique contributions of the early goddesses. Was that you, Peggy? No? And Jean told me it wasn't her either. I'm so curious who it was. Well, whoever it is, this talk's for you. And all of you. But what's so fascinating is that many people don't realize that, worshiping the Creator as the Great Mother, the Great Goddess, is far more ancient than worshiping God as Father. It's far more ancient. Long before there was a patriarchal view of God as Father, which really came from Judaism and Islam and Christianity, the monotheistic religions, there was for thousands of years honoring and worshiping the Mother Goddess, the universal Mother as the Creator, as the birther of worlds out of her infinite love and consciousness. And this subject is so dear, it's so near and dear to my heart because I feel, probably obviously, intimately connected to the Great Mother. I have experienced my true nature beyond all separate identity as the Great Mother. And as this quality of immense love and boundless cosmic consciousness. Maybe you have felt this connection with the Great Mother Goddess. I think many of you have, and many of you do, and felt her as your true nature shining through when your heart is full of love, and when you're feeling overwhelmed with kindness and expressing kindness, when you're selflessly serving others, when you're in stillness and blissful communion, when you're in nature, when you're in Lithia Park, and you're beholding the beauty, and, in that moment feeling the Great Mother, the Great Creator of all that is. The widest conception of the Great Mother is the Mother as ultimate reality beyond gender, beyond form. It's that primordial creative Shakti that brings all life into being and sustains it for a time and then dissolves it all back into that vast formless beingness. And just like we see God expressed in form, right? We see divine incarnations expressed in the male form, Jesus, right? The most well-known, but there are others. Buddha is an expression of the divine in male form. Krishna, an expression of the divine in male form. Ramana Maharshi, right, is a more contemporary expression of God in male form. But just like that, we also see the Great Mother expressed in form, many forms. There are many expressions of her that go back at least 25,000 years, actually, I think quite a bit further back. But you see her depiction in the Venus figurines, right? Rianne Eisler, who we had here, we had the honor of having her here, did so much research. She's an archaeologist, and she did so much research and found that they worshiped the goddess way back. The goddesses of Mesopotamia, of Egypt, the goddesses of Egypt, right? The goddesses of Greece, and the goddesses of India, and the goddesses of Africa. They have so many divine attributes. Fertility is one, wisdom, social justice, nature, of course, music, and compassion, right? People over the years have often given me statues of Saraswati. And this is a statue. Glenn, you remember Glenn from Oroville? Glenn gave me this Saraswati statue. And Saraswati is the goddess of music and learning. She's holding a veena. She should be holding a piano, I think. She's on a swan. She's sitting on a swan. But, I very much relate to that archetype, obviously. And an archetype is like a character type. Saraswati embodies music and creativity. Lakshmi she embodies beauty and also generosity, abundance, the giving of abundance. And not just abundance materially, but an abundance of love, an abundance of grace, right? An abundance of kindness. And then there's Kali. There's Kali, the fierce goddess that I felt like your poem really represented. Kali so beautifully. Yeah, I don't know if you meant to channel Kali in that, but I love Kali. Kali's very mysterious and a little scary, right? Because she's wearing a necklace of skulls, and she's got a big sword, and she's standing on Shiva, her partner. Pretty fierce, that mother. But Kali is the destroyer of illusion. So she is the destroyer of limitations. She's the destroyer of the egoic identity so that we might know ourselves as this unlimited divine reality. So her fierce love cuts through the ego and leads us from the unreal to the real, and leads us from darkness to light, and leads us from death to immortality. You know, many of you who I've visited have Kuan Yins in your homes or in your yards. How many have Kuan Yins in your homes or yards? See? Kuan Yin. So here I brought a little, I've got them all over my house, I have to admit, along with Mother Mary's and also Tara. So Kuan Yin, yes, you know, she is the embodiment of infinite compassion. She is that bodhisattva of so much compassion and perfect wisdom and love. I remember when Amma gave me a mantra, my spiritual teacher, Amma, Mata Amritanandamayi, she gave me my mantra and asked me what version of God or goddess I most related to. And I shared with her that I relate to the formless goddess, the formless mother, that is all that is, but that has this immensity of love and compassion, because that's what I had known directly. And so she gave me a mantra that had the word karuna in it. Of course, karuna is Sanskrit for compassion. So the mother of compassion, Kuan Yin. So the principal source of life energy is in us all, right? And you could reframe that biblical verse, you are made in the image and likeness of God. You could reframe that and say, you are made in the image and the likeness of the Great Mother. Just imagine if that's what we'd grown up hearing. And that picture that Michelangelo painted was a woman touching the finger, right? You know, just imagine if we'd grown up with that, because many societies way, way before God became predominant in the patriarchal religions, the goddess was we were made in the image and the likeness of the Great Mother. I loved what you said. How did you say that? What you worship you become? How did you say that? Yes. Your image of God becomes you. That is, your image of God creates you. That is so powerful. That is so powerful. And so this Great Mother applies equally to men, right? As the Great Mother is ultimate reality. And that energy expresses in many, many, many universal divine attributes, right? So I'd like to hear some of the goddesses that you hold dear. I've mentioned a few. I know there's a whole lot I haven't mentioned. Or you can say someone I've already mentioned, but tell me the goddess you relate to, if you have one. Kuan Yin. Mother Mary. Bridget, thank you. Mother Nature, yes, yes. Somebody else? What's that? Ganesh. Okay, that's Ganesh. Okay, yeah. Birthed from a divine mother. What's that? Anybody else? Tara. Yes. Ah. Right, yeah. The Japanese goddess. And in Buddhism, there's the green Tara, the white Tara. Nobody said Athena yet. Athena! Jean Houston embodies Athena. Sophia, now we're waking up. What's that? Yemanya. Thank you. Nice. Right, right. Isis, thank you. Yeah, and then we have Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene. I was really touched at our new membership orientation, asking you who you related to most in your spiritual practice and life, and quite a few people said Mother Mary, and someone I think said Mary Magdalene. And then of course we have contemporary mothers like Anandamayi Ma. She lived until 1982. I think she was born in 1896. She's powerful to read her works. And then there's Amma. We have a picture of Amma because Amma has been my primary spiritual teacher since 1992. So, and I would say that Amma, spending 30 years touring with her, she just fully embodies so many divine attributes. And all my time around her, sometimes I would experience her as Durga. She protects her devotees, and Durga, rides on a tiger, and she's fairly fierce also. And she has these weapons, but they are weapons to protect the devotee, to slay the demons, and to awaken spiritual knowledge. And then sometimes I see Amma as Lakshmi, because Amma, if you watch her every day, day in, day out, year after year, she hugs thousands and thousands of people every single day. She not just hugs them, she wipes their tears. She's wiped my tears many times. She gives them spiritual knowledge and spiritual teachings. And then she also feeds them. In India, she feeds thousands of people every day for free. And then in India, she's got orphanages. She's got colleges you can go to for free. She's got rehabilitation centers for sex workers. She's got vocational training so you can learn how to sew so you can rise out of poverty. I mean, the humanitarian work is off the charts. I've just never seen anything like it, really. So in that way, I see her as Lakshmi, the giver of such abundance of grace and love and kindness and goodness. Now, sometimes I do see Amma as Kali, and when I see Amma as Kali, it's especially in India, because you're in her homeland, and I think she turns up the heat. She turns up the teachings when you're with her there. So I wanted to share one really profound lesson that I got from Amma about overcoming my egoic tendencies. I was in India with her, and we were traveling to South India, further south. We were in Kerala. We went to a town called Trivandrum in South India, and it was 5 days. It was a very intense program that she was seeing about 25,000 people a day. And I was singing. I had the privilege to sing while she was giving darshan, a couple hours a day. But it was a very intense place to be. It was just huge, and it was dusty, and it was dirty, and it was hot, and we were always sticky. And I was staying in a room with about 100 women. And we all had these thin little mats, very thin. And we were just side by side in this room, 100 women. And to use the bathroom, you had to go outside, down the stairs, out the building, into this concrete hut that just had a hole in the floor. And after 5 days, wow, I was tired. And when when everybody got on the bus to go back to the ashram with Amma, I snuck away. I got a cab and I went to the beach. I went to this little town called Kovalam, about half an hour away, and I thought, I'm just going to spend 2 nights. I'm just going to rest, have some R&R, I mostly just slept and then sat on the ocean. Well, the second day, when Amma was back there, they have this thing every Tuesday. They give darshan to all the Western people, the people from the West. And Amma always really liked me to sing, especially for that, because they could understand. I sing in English. Most people didn't sing in English. So I had all these devotional songs in English. So Amma was expecting me to sing, and I wasn't singing. And so she started sending people to look for me. And they were looking high and low, and they even ran into the little town of Valley Cow, and they couldn't find me. And so the next day, I got back to the ashram in the taxi, and 2 people ran up and said, Amma was looking for you. She had people looking for you, and they even went into town looking for you. And I just felt terrible. I just felt like, wow, the Divine Mother wanted me to sing, and here I am at the beach. So I went up to Amma for a darshan a little later, kind of sheepishly, and this Kali Ma came through, and she started just speaking to me in Malayalam in a very stern tone that I had never heard from Amma. But I knew what she was saying. I don't speak Malayalam, but the very last word she said was Kovalam, right? The beach town, Kovalam. And I just nodded and dropped my head down, and she just kind of went, okay, see you later. And I went and sat under a palm tree. I found a quiet place, and I just cried. And I just had a big cry, and then I just got still, and I was praying, and I was meditating, and I was like, what, I was like, what is this message? What is this teaching? And the message, the teaching for me was, I went all the way to India to be with the Divine Mother, to truly awaken spiritually. I mean, I was there for that. And, that I've got lots of time I could be going to the beach, right? But I was there for that. And Amma, when you're there with her, especially if you have the privilege of being in her kind of inner circle, she kind of brought me in and let me sing every day, wanted me to sing every day. It was she really wants you to be committed to your spiritual path and awakening. And I mean, a true great spiritual teacher will want that for you, and want no less than that for you, and will expect you to be that dedicated, right? And so life around Amma, especially in India, it's tapas. Tapas means heat. It's like spiritual heat. The heat is turned up. You're doing 8-10 hours of spiritual practice a day, and you're in the presence of a master. And so you really want to take advantage of it. So I went up to Darshan the next day, and she was so sweet to me. And I said, forgive me. And she pinched my cheek and smiled at me and said, go sing. But it was just such an incredibly powerful teaching, for me. It was a great lesson, and it's been incredibly helpful after that in my life since, because, and not to say we don't need to take good care of ourselves, we definitely do, but I could have gone back to the ashram and rested and then still sang. But she's helped me so much go beyond my limited self, right, and kind of transcend the body, right, and give more and serve more. And it's helped me over the years, all the touring, 25 years of touring. I would go to a church sometimes, and I'd have a raging migraine, and I'd still go and I'd sing, and I'd still go and serve. And like in the last couple of weeks, I've been having some health challenges, and I've been really dizzy. And yet, I am here, and it's not hard. You know why? Because the grace of the Mother, I feel it with me. It carries me. It's amazing what that grace makes possible. It's always there supporting me and lifting me. I have a song, Grace of the Mother. But this grace makes it possible for me to use this life and the time I have left in the most meaningful way possible. And I'll tell you what, when you have experiences that remind you of your mortality, you get so clear about what matters. And you know what? This matters. What we're doing here matters. It matters to me more than anything. It makes me so happy. It's a beautiful feeling to feel like you are in your dharma. You are in that sweet spot in your life, just so completely aligned with the dharma, right? Serving the mother. There's a song I wrote after that spiritual awakening I had in 91 called Serve the Mother. And the words are, Mother, sing through me. Mother, play a song so sweetly with these hands. Let me see with your vision. Let me feel with your boundless heart. Through these feet of mine walk the earth, and with my life give birth. Silent friend comes to me when I'm still, very still. She comes to me inside, and she whispers, serve the mother. She'll take care of everything. She'll take care of everything. And you know what? She has. She has. She is with me. And she is who I am in my truest nature. My partner, after that awakening experience, named me Precious Ma. I don't usually tell people that. It's a secret, so don't tell anybody else. But I do feel in my most shining, open moments, my most unveiled moments, I am that precious mother. I am that precious Ma. So what I have found, I wanted to say this, what I have found connects me with her the most is to earnestly call to her. You know, if you're lying in bed and you're worried or you're sad or you're in despair or you're tired, whatever it is, just call in the way that has meaning for you, but call with all your being. Call with your deepest, deepest heart and all your earnestness. And that energy comes, right? You know, to sing to the divine, that's another way to connect. Such a beautiful way. I know you all felt that. You feel that this morning. And then just being still and letting her come, right? Walking quietly in nature. Of course, she's in all the beauty. She's in all the life forms. I never knew I was in love with Gaia, but when I was 10, I used to ride my horse every day after school and just go for miles. My mom just let me. She just trusted me. And that was such a time of blossoming my spirituality out there in nature. I didn't know I was in love with Gaia, but Gaia is the embodiment of Mother Earth, right, in the Greek mythology. Right. So Joseph Campbell, he saw the great goddess as the primordial universal force with three key functions. Three key functions. And those functions are giving life, receiving one into death, and inspiring spiritual realization. You know, I've been very familiar with the giving life part, right? And also the spiritual realization. But I love that receiving one into death, and that has more meaning since helping my mom in her death and then in her Bardo time. You know, I really felt such profound guidance when Mom was dying, when she died, and after, in that 40 days, I could really feel the Divine Mother so with us. And I actually felt like merging in the Divine Mother just made it effortless to be with my mother, because it's opening to a consciousness that's not limited to these bodies, and it doesn't end when the body ends. So you merge with that Divine Mother, and I really felt like she guided me in how to support my mom in her mental body, in her astral body, in that time in the Bardo. You know, people, when they talk about near-death experiences and that great love they felt, you know, you could say that that is the great mother receiving one into death, that experience, that energy. Joseph Campbell wrote that the term God or goddess is a metaphor for a mystery that absolutely transcends all human categories of thought, even categories of being and non-being. And as was written in the Rig Veda, I put this in the newsletter, truth is one. The sages speak of it by many names. Truth is one. The sages speak of it by many names. I love that scripture. That embodies our interfaith philosophy here, because it means there is a single ultimate reality, but it's understood and expressed in many ways, right? And so that's why I'm sharing about the Great Mother today, is to maybe, if your orientation has been more God and male, to open to the fact that truth is one and it's expressed in many ways, right? And we can look beyond the superficial differences and find the shared truth that connects all humanity. I feel like that's what we need to do. I remember after that awakening, I felt like I merged with all that is and infinity itself. And to try to talk about all that is, we say that a lot in our spiritual, terms, all that is. But the concept, the idea of all that is, I realize is like a drop of water in the ocean of all that actually is. That's what I saw. That it's just so vast. It's inconceivable with the mind, but we can become it, as you said, Peggy, so beautifully. So I remember Mother Mary was my first experience of the Great Mother in form. In Catholic school, we were in the church and they had that corner over here where the Mother Mary altar was, and you could light a candle and say a prayer. And that's what really resonated with me, the energy of mercy and compassion and love and kindness. It's definitely, I didn't resonate with sin and guilt and all of that. And then, I experienced the Divine Mother in the nature realm, in the Gaia realm. Joseph Campbell emphasized the idea that the world is the body of the goddess. In the mother goddess religions, where nature is divine, nature is not separate. So nature as divine, I think, is what we need if we want to take care of our planet, right? If we want to be good stewards, we have to shift out of feeling separate from nature and see nature as divine, as the Divine Mother, as the Great Mother. So... that awakening I had, I've talked about it a little bit, but it was the beginning of my spiritual life more than the end all. I think sometimes we think we have a spiritual awakening and that's the end all, but it really was the beginning, because we have to have a desire to stay connected. We have to cultivate that desire to stay connected and in communion with and awake to the divine. And, we can have one foot in the world, but we want to have one foot in that realm of the ultimate reality. And I know that's why we're all here. I think that's why we're all here. I know it's fun to socialize after church, but it's so important to cultivate that desire and keep it alive. I know my deepest wish, one of my songs, Holy Mother, the last verse is, Holy Mother, hold my hand within your hand. Holy Mother, let me feel all that I am, all that I am. Let me know all that I am. Let me merge in all that I am, in the I am. So, my friends, I just pray, and may the grace of the Mother be with each one of you. And may that light shine in your life as divine light and light your path. And most of all, the message from the Mother, from the Great Mother, is that you are so, so, so very loved. You are so very cherished. You are so incredibly precious. And your life matters so very much. Thank you. Jai Ma.